South Dakota is directly affected by this invasion. We are affected by cartel presence right here on our tribal reservations, by the spread of drugs and human trafficking throughout our communities, and by the drain on our resources at the local, the state, and the federal level.
All right, that's the governor of South Dakota, who's joined efforts with Greg Abbott to put up barbed wire along the southern border. Governor Kristi Noem, author of No Going Back, joins us now. Congrats on the release of the book. The number 2 million struck me as interesting because in the break, I Googled the population of South Dakota. That is more than double, and I know you know this, the population of your state. Let's put what's happening at the border aside because we know that's a crisis. What are we going to do with all the people who are already here?
That's what's so incredible, is that if you add up what's come in just under the Biden administration, it looks like it's up to 10 million people. So it's larger than the size of 30 of our states that are now in the United States of America. So that's what's incredible, the amount of people that have been added to our population that violated federal law, came into our country, and now are filling our cities, but they're filling our small towns as well. They're becoming burdens to government programs. Our nonprofits are, working to take care of people and address this with humanity. But what's interesting to me is the amount of dangerous people we're letting into the country as well. Known terrorists, criminals.
I appreciate all that. I'm just wondering what to do with hopefully we can agree on kicking the dangerous people out, like the 4 illegal immigrants who beat up the New York cops. Kathy Hochul says she may want to have them be deported, but just the people who are there. I'm thinking about the people in South Dakota that you talked about that are a drain on resources. What do you do with those people?
They came into our country illegally. They need to be deported. They just do. They broke our federal law. They need to go home and come here correctly. We're either a nation of laws or we're not a nation of all. And right now, the problem is we've got President Biden setting a poor example. He's being a leader who's knowingly violating federal law, and that is putting us in a very dangerous situation. I've declared the southern border a war zone. It's an invasion of our country. Today, I informed our legislature and the people of South Dakota the real crime and trafficking and the drugs that are infiltrating our state. I have 9 tribal reservations. I have no jurisdiction there. We have families living on our tribal reservations that are living with the cartels, that are in their communities, taking advantage of them, perpetuating crimes and murders, and they can't do anything about it. And we've been asking this federal government to come in and keep people safe. They refuse to. So it's not just in Texas, it's in South Dakota too, and that's what these cartels are doing.
Argument. No argument there. In Wisconsin, in my home state of Missouri, and in others. Look, as you point out, there's a lot of very dangerous people who come. There's also a lot of people who are just looking for a better life, who are looking for a job and some way to better their lives and their families' lives. Certainly, that's what my grandparents did when they came to America. Part of the economic incentive is people being able to find work. I think about the most effective way to disincentivize is E-Verify, which is to keep people from being able to get a job because their identity has to be verified by their employer, and you can't hire illegal immigrants. We looked up South Dakota. Voluntary E-Verify, not mandatory, ranks near the bottom in both the number of employers and usage in your state. Why is that, you think?
I think it's because in South Dakota, we don't try to come in as a government and mandate everything. We've got a lot of businesses that have stepped up and done that, and there more and more are doing that every single day because of this situation. The people of South Dakota are incredibly patriotic, and they want our laws to be upheld, and it's been incredible to see the support that they have for making sure that people follow our laws in this country. I was the very first governor to deploy National Guard to our southern border over 3 years ago. We've deployed there 3 times now. We also are looking at the situation we have today and what we could do different, what we can do with rules of engagement, how we can send supplies, and even support Texas in litigation and in the courtroom so that we can defend our state's rights.
I understand. So I understand all that, and you make valid points about why this is so dangerous at the border. But the single biggest thing in terms of de-incentivizing illegal immigration into South Dakota would be to make it so people can't get employment there. And you're saying that you don't want to have mandatory E-Verify because you don't want to be heavy-handed with the employers?
It's been a topic of debate in South Dakota for many years. In fact, when I was in Congress, we've talked about it, and it was debated when I represented our state at the federal level, and then as governor as well. It's a topic of conversation, too. I think that most of our businesses out there proactively do it. My first instinct is not that the government comes in and mandates everything and pushes businesses, but we educate them, give them tools, and overwhelmingly they're using it. So, people can always point to a state and say that they should be mandating things. I choose to inform my folks on what the options are, and E-Verify may be a choice that we make. But I believe a lot of times that those debates need to include the cooperation with the legislative leadership as well. And so we're continuing to do that. That's certainly something I've always supported. Because it's not the law today, it doesn't mean that I, as a governor, am going to come in and mandate it and force it on our businesses. But I certainly have always supported E-Verify.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.